And then like he's just like the Valis signal is going directly into his brain. And be like, you like that Led Zepp song? Turn on the radio. You may be surprised. He's sitting in the car with his wife. Just turns it on. He's like, yep. See, got the God power.
Yeah, they talk. God comes on like one of those like shitty MAGA. He comes on like Your Voice radio. He's like, yeah, I don't know. I just like this guy. He's like a cool guy. He's humble. He's like, yeah, I've had a lot of prophets before, and they all turned out. They're just like really just like just like narcissistic or like just self-destructive. Like Moses, he didn't have to do all the stuff he did. But this guy, he's just a chill guy, so I help him out.
The movie just ends, and then we have this thing that this is a feature of all of these fucking movies.
The D'Souza movie, the Glenn Beck movies, like all of these Christian right-wing movies always have a montage at the end where it's just they edit together stock footage of Mount Rushmore, San Francisco, New York, Sodom and Gomorrah, I would imagine, but like an eagle flying over an American flag and like kids having fun on a beach.
Fireworks shit like that.
But unique to this one, interspersed throughout that patriotic montage was just people showing framed photos of veterans that are in their family.
Which is weird because they never talk about veterans in this movie. They're just kind of throwing together all kinds of like really simplistic Americana shit.
And it was just like, yeah, they just people are smiling and looking photos of like, this is my father. He was in the Navy. He died of heart disease when he was 80. But like,
yeah, they're just. It just felt like they're just throwing shit at the wall by the end of it. Like, hey, you fucking hogs love this shit, huh?
Well, here's what I love to think about after seeing this movie. Like we said, nobody thought Trump was going to be president. It seemed totally unlikely, but a miracle did happen. And like you said, Felix, I like thinking that like this guy is the real deal. That like he literally is a prophet of God, and that God used him to get the prayer conference call and the shofar party that made it possible so that his power could elect Donald Trump. I really like thinking that that's 100% real, and that my worldview is diametrically opposed to reality. God is 100% real. He talks to people all the time. Angels visit like boat dealers in Missouri all the time to give them messages from the great beyond. It's all real. I love thinking that because it's just like, oh, wow, I'm still correct in not believing in God because he's a huge asshole and a moron.
No, I think that like God's prophecies that he's been sending these people, like, it's actually the Democrats that brainwashed your stepdaughter, and that's why your son doesn't come to Thanksgiving anymore. Like, hey, there's a reason your like just huge son didn't make the varsity team. He's gonna work on his fundamentals on JV. Like, just the totally boring prophecies God gives these guys. There's a reason for it, and I'm evangelical now. It was nice knowing you.
I think this movie should be required watching for anyone working in politics because it explains pretty succinctly how all of these bored retired suburbanites who are ostensibly evangelical Christians voted for Trump, a guy who has open contempt for Christianity.
I as much as I hate Buttigieg, I do hope he's able to just like they're able to keep this media creation alive for a little bit, because I do want to see him try to like do his thing where he's like, hey, I'm a middle American with these people.
No, you're not.
You're a McKinsey consultant who went to Harvard, but I would love to see him try to talk to these people. Yeah. That would be the funniest fucking thing in the world.
I'm a Christian and a veteran like you.
And they're like, okay, buddy, when's the last time you talked to God? There's no fate. He deserves more. The guy who thinks he can figure everything out by being a teacher's pet, than talking to these completely insane people who all, like, literally 20 million Americans basically think they're prophets by any definition of the word.
Yeah, he goes to churches where they screen this film and just is like, let's talk entitlement reform.
Yeah. And all these people look at him, they just see the fire demon from this movie. I hope he goes to every church where they believe this stuff. That would be fantastic.
The lesson that I take from the movie is the horns probably worked. That's I like halfway convinced.
Good an explanation.
So whoever you're organizing for, get some horns.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Shoot that shofar.
Eve of the Iowa caucus. We want Bernie to win it. Let's get horns. Let's get shofars.
Let's get shofars, guys. Let's do it and be fucking legends.
Yeah.
We're gonna get in the next few months, we're gonna get our shofars. You get your shofars.
Also, we think we could make millions if we made a version of this movie for Bolsonaro, the Bolsonaro prophecy. The Brazilian version of First of all, he's not a firefighter in the Brazilian version. He's a bope guy. And he has like his PTSD is like the one moment anyone slightly resisted being shot to death.
Let's put together a prayer party line for Bernie Sanders. $5.99 for the first minute, $2.99 for every minute after that. And, let's just get the magic going.
Talk to young, hot prayer warriors in your area today.
There are shofars in your area waiting to be blown.
We're skipping over the part, though, that like a huge part of the runtime of this movie, after the patriotic montage of people looking at photos of their grandparents and American Eagles flying over Mount Rushmore, is just like a documentary talking head part of the movie where they just interview Michelle Bachmann, General Jerry Boykin, who you may remember as the original evangelical like prayer warrior general, who actually I think had to be shuffled quietly out of power because right when the war on terror was kicking off, he literally would say things like, "We're fighting a demonic moon god," and you could take that to the bank. That's what the U.S. military is literally doing. That is actually why we're fighting the war on terror. And then because back then Bush and all them, that was against they were like, no, you can't say, you officially have to say Islam is a religion of peace. And they're like, no, I'm literally fighting a crusade.
That was awesome when there were 5 generals at the highest level who were like, I have kinetically instructed my men to kill as many Mohammedans as possible. And even Dick Cheney had to be like, don't
can't
talk to the press, please.
Can't say that.
Please, dude.
No, yeah, they'd be like, yeah, I'm instructing all my soldiers to grease their bullets with pork rinds. And we are going to kill or convert all the Muslims in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
People forget, the people running the initial war in Afghanistan, it was Petraeus, that pussy. But then, Cotton Hill. 5 Cotton Hills were running it.
Okay, so there's Jerry Boykin, Michelle Bachmann, no Marcus Bachmann, unfortunately.
I would have loved to see Marcus.
Because Michelle has been out of the scene for a minute, but as soon as he was there, I was like, oh man, what a great character that was.
We all started talking about Marcus.
And Marcus was the best part about Michelle Bachmann. We were saying, when she was running for president and Marcus was a character on the scene. Okay, remember the fact that he literally had a youth ministry that ministered only to gay runaways.
My favorite tell from that whole thing was they interviewed Michelle, and she clearly didn't know how this came off, and she's like, "Oh, actually, Marcus loves the campaign. His favorite thing is picking out the outfits that I wear." Okay, man.
Is that what just every evangelical marriage is like? They just sleep in a tiny bed. They play frisbee and do not have sex at all.
Well, and then you have night terrors about hands grasping you and spitting on you and things like that.
Yeah.
Your husband wakes up sweaty every other night.
Your husband basically sees fire goatsy every night. And you have to go to the keto doctor, and he tells your husband to eat cream cheese every day and no bread. You're like, yeah, he's fine now.
Yeah, that's just normal.
Okay. Other talking heads. There was a number of people that were. Their name was given, it would be Mark Nuttall, and people I've never heard of, but there was pastor, international speaker, which just means they've spoke in another country.
We're international.
And there's one guy who says advisor to presidents and other world leaders, and it was other world leaders there for sure. Charles Taylor. General Butnick,
Duterte, Bolsonaro.
Just every fucking warlord in Africa.
There was one credentialed, not credentialed, but the best-selling historian.
Oh, was that guy? What's his name? Robert Jeffries, or he's the really how shall I put this?
Marcus Bachmann.
Yeah, Marcus Bachmann-esque, but he's the skinny one to the Abbott and Costello. He's the skinny one to the Marcus Bachmann's big old blimp.
Yeah,
and he's just he's one of the best-selling historians in America. Again, just dog shit for brains country. Unbelievably stupid country.
I love this place. We have the most, we can just fucking kill everyone who's, every living creature we can just fucking incinerate with barely a trace. Just kill ourselves and everyone else. And, yeah, that's our best-selling historian.
It's not Robert Jeffries. Fuck. They're not Tim LaHaye. That's the Bible code people.
Yeah,
Fuck. I mean, I'll look this guy up, but basically he writes books about how national treasure, but for Christianity, where the founding fathers did numerology codes in the Declaration of Independence about why Jesus is king and shit like that. David Barton, that's the guy I'm thinking of. That's the guy, the evangelical crank historian.
There's a direct line between that and QAnon.
Oh yeah.
By the way,
Oh,
That's like,
it's all the same.
It's
shit.
basically like giving kids like coloring books, and it tells them how to like develop critical thinking later on. Both boomers.
God, just Bernie Sanders should just go to these people and say, "I'm magic."
Yeah, I've talked to God. He actually likes me more.
But that's the thing, though.
I blew a shofar way before any of these guys.
That's why, and I mean, I've never really talked about this on the show, but that's why my second choice candidate, if Bernie Sanders were to drop out or something, is Marianne Williamson.
Well, you've just said this, and I literally have no idea
She
who
rocks.
this person is.
She's the only true heir to Lyndon LaRoche.
Okay, she's fantastic. So she was a writer in the 90s, I believe, and she wrote this huge bestseller called, like, I can't remember the name, but it's all about, like, you know, the power of love, hoping in the world of shadows or something like that. And she was on Oprah. It was like an Oprah, like early Oprah book club kind of book. And then she wrote a few more of these like spiritual self-help books. And she ran for Congress a few years ago. And she lost the primary, but now she's back and she's running for president.
Marianne had the only good interventionist position on Syria, which was, I think the Post said, we need to mentally quarantine the government of Syria. And it's like, okay,
God, she's
sure,
right.
go for it.
She's right.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, and you know, she has a new book out. Like, this is her campaign book, A Politics of Love, a handbook for a new American revolution. Doesn't that sound great?
I love her.
That sounds just so much better than all the Pete Buttigieg and Beto O'Rourke bullshit.
We need a new LaRoche. That's her.
Because the thing is, no matter who the Democratic nominee is, because Bernie has spent so much time, you know, bidding up the policies and moving the party to the left, and even guys like Beto are like, oh yeah, sure, I love Medicare for all. I want to abolish ICE. That means anyone that the Democrats nominate will be painted in the fall campaign as this radical communist, open borders, baby killer, you know, to end your fucking healthcare person. And the centrist types like Kamala Harris or Beto O'Rourke, like, they're not going to be able to handle that. They're basically they're gonna end up doing what, you know, John Kerry and Al Gore did, which is, you know, waffle on it and try to walk back all the shit that they said in the primaries, and they're just come off totally insincere because they're not actual class warriors. The only two candidates who could really withstand that, because they have just this lifetime of credibility, are Bernie Sanders and Marianne Williamson. Could you imagine Marianne Williamson on that debate stage with Donald Trump? And Donald Trump says, you know, this woman is a radical. You know, she wants to bring MS-13 into your community. And Marianne Williamson just fires right back, Donald Trump, I love you.
Dude,
what's he gonna do?
It would be like Princess Mononoke running against Donald Trump. It would be so. Dude, imagine she comes out and there are like 50 wolves following her. That's so fucking beautiful. Oh my God. I have fucking tears in my eyes.
I can't even picture her
Just
face
picture
or, like,
imagine this. You know, America, like, our fundamental problem is we have bad vibes. And we just kind of need to get together using love and positivity and just, like, fix our vibes, you know? Just realign, you know?
I'm maxing out to her. She rocks.
She needs...
Well, you love Princess Mononoke. This is your
of
candidate.
course. All right, well, I didn't know she was the Princess Mononoke.
She is, dude.
She is. And
I
she
like
needs...
see, like, her pitches like, America, like, we're on a trip right now, but we're on the edge right now. It could go one way, which is great, or it could go the other way, which is fucking horrible. It's a nightmare. But you got to choose.
She's
you gotta
right,
choose
and
the love
she's the only
vibes.
candidate who could actually unite the entire country.
Yeah, there's evangelicals would fall in line behind her. I'm falling in line behind her.
Because you're right, because she's a self-help writer, and, like, this movie is for people who read these fucking self-help books like Dr. Colbert.
Right, they read shit self-help books by people who have no magic powers, unlike her. They read self-help books by, like, crank doctors who, like, sell bracelets that they say give you magnetic equilibrium, and they're just boring. It's like, be the best you. Imagine every day you're having a job interview with yourself. And combine that with her, who's just a powerful aura and just mysticism and results. Yeah,
and she's saying, like, yeah, these crank doctors, these quacksalvers are like, you know, you need to de-stress yourself and exercise. Nobody wants to do that shit. And she's just saying, you know, you gotta experience ego death just once, and then you realize we're all part of the same thing.
I think you're overselling how well evangelicals will line up behind other cranks that speak in similar crankish
She's not a
terms.
crank.
She's not a
Okay.
crank. I mean, what she's saying is true.
Yeah,
Like, this
just
is
name
basic-
one thing that she's wrong about.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you've tried
she's
to explain
more.
it to me.
I mean,
but
this
It's not
is
my job to
more,
educate you.
okay.
Honestly, she's a more Marxist candidate than Bernie. This is all. This is
no,
all.
you're right.
Marx.
There is a woman who's more left wing than Bernie in the race, but it's not Elizabeth Warren.
It's not Liz. It's Marianne Williamson, and she needs, she needs like enough donations, even a donation of $1, just to get in that debate. So you know what? Join me. Throw Marianne Williamson a buck. She's the one who deserves to be the next breakout.
Okay.
There we go.
Yeah. Williamson, 2020.
I'm still, I'm still a supporter of Bernie, but I also want it to be a good contest of ideas.
I want someone to push Bernie to the left on auras.
exactly.
I think I said about does it. So what are our final lessons from the Trump prophecy? What have we learned today?
Sometimes there is a light that never goes out. And that light is the little demon creep that hides under your child bed that you share with your wife. You're fucking half a bunk bed that you sleep in with your life. But that light will go out if Donald Trump becomes president.
My husband's in a coma. I guess he's very afraid of fire. I know it's really serious. So yeah, there is a light that will never go out, and it's the Trump prophecy.
Yeah, nah.
Okay, Virgil.
The movie confirms my belief that there's really not much more to life than posting.
Oh yeah.
That's what he does. He's retired. Screw it. I'm going to become a QAnon weirdo. I'm going to talk to God and post about it. And he's right. He's right to do that. Semper posts.
My takeaway from the lesson is I'm no longer an atheist. God is real, but he hates us and is an asshole. Like he despises.
I think it's nice.
Like he despises humanity. Like God is 100% real.
All right, Chris, make sure there's less word. I think God is nice.